Hello and welcome to Nana's Crafty Home. My name is Tanya. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to make the painted desert scarf that you can find as a free pattern on my website. Just follow the link below in the description of the video if you'd like those free written pattern instructions. This is a one cake project. I made this scarf with the Lion brand Wool Ease Cakes, which is a light 3-weight yarn. So this is a project that you can substitute really any yarn, any weight. You're working from the bottom up, so it's easily customizable. It's a 1-row repeat. This is a perfect gift, a lot of fun to make. So all you're going to need to get started with this project is 1 cake of the Lion brand Wool Ease cake yarn or another similar self-striping yarn of your choice. The colorway I'm using for the video is the Taiki, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The original pattern, I use Zeus in this scarf here. So you're also going to need a size H or a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook, and that's all we need. So we will get started. We're going to get our yarn on our hook, and I'm going to chain 4. I'm going to skip those first 3 chains from the hook, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in that last chain from the hook, and those skipped 3 chains are going to count as my first stitch. So working 2 double crochets in that first chain made, that's row 1. I'm going to turn for row 2 and chain 3. Now I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the same stitch as that chain 3. So at the base of that chain 3, I'm going to be working 2 double crochets. That's my first cluster, and I refer to these 3 double crochets as clusters because they're worked together in the same stitch or in the same space. I'm going to skip that next stitch, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets in that last stitch, which are those skipped chains from the previous row. So working 3 double crochets the top of that chain 3. And that is row 2 made. I'm going to turn my work and chain 3. I'm going to again work 2 double crochets at the base of that chain 3, so working in that same stitch. Now I'm going to work a cluster of 3 double crochets in that space between the 2 sets of clusters from that previous row. So in that space, I'm going to work 3 double crochets. I'm going to skip those next 2 stitches, and I'm going to work another cluster, so 3 double crochets in the top of that turning chain 3 from the previous row. So in my last stitch, I'm going to work 3 double crochets. And you can see here, of course, this is row 3 completed. This is the bottom of my triangle, and I'm working up. And you can see that I'm increasing by 1 set of clusters for every row. I started out with 1, second row has 2, third row has 3, and as we move throughout this pattern, that's what's going to happen. You're going to increase by 1 cluster or 1 set of 3 double crochets every row. So 4, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to chain 3, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in that same stitch, the base of that chain 3. Now I'm going to work a cluster or 3 double crochets in each space between clusters to the end. So in this space here, I'm going to work 3 double crochets. In the next space here, I'm going to work 3 double crochets. And when we get to the end, I'm going to work 3 double crochets in the top of that turning chain 3, or that last stitch. So another cluster at the end. And for row 4, I have 4 clusters of 3 double crochets. For row 5, now we're just going to be repeating row 4 for the rest of our pattern. Again, 2 double crochets at the base of that chain 3 and 3 double crochets in each space between clusters to the end. So in this space here, 3 double crochets, in this space here, 3 double crochets, and when we get to the end, 3 double crochets in the last stitch, the top of that chain 3. So let's take a look at that. You can see that the triangle is really starting to take shape, that we're growing it from the bottom up, that we're going out, creating this nice triangle, and you're just going to be continuing to repeat that row 4 throughout the remainder of your pattern to the size desired. For my pattern, I worked through row 56. That got me to a size of a 48-inch wide wingspan and about 22 inches from the top to the tip of my triangle. But of course you can make it larger if you would like. That ended up giving me a good size scarf, but still with enough left over of my yarn to do a nice fringe around the outside edge. So when we come back, we will work on that fringe. So I've cut some lengths of yarn. You're going to need, for each fringe that you're putting on your scarf, you're going to want 2 strands at about 6 inches in length. So cut those in equal length, and then you're going to attach those to your edge of your scarf. And you can see here, I did not complete my scarf. I did enough to show you the repeats in the pattern. So in order to attach that fringe to your scarf, you're going to, I attached mine at the end of every row around the chain 3 or the last double crochet of that row. So each row will have a fringe on both sides of the row. So one here and one here, one here, one here, and so on, going all the way up the sides of your scarf. And then I also put one here right at the tip of my triangle. But to add those, I'm just inserting my hook. I'm using a hook to make this easier, and I'm grabbing the middle part of those 2 strands folded together, and I'm pulling those loops up. And then I am pushing the ends of those strands up through that loop, and then gently pulling till it's nice and snug. So with 2 strands of yarn together, I'm inserting my hook at the end of a row between that last double crochet or the chain 3 and the double crochet next to it. I'm using that hook to grab the center part of those 2 strands, holding them together to make it easier to attach, and then pulling those loops up. When I pull those loops up, I remove my hook, put my finger in the loop to keep that loop, and then push those strands through the loop. And once they've been pushed through the loop, gently tug on those strands until it's nice and snug to your scarf. Once you've completed adding fringe, as you would like, you're going to go ahead and trim those ends so that they all match in length. And you can see here all the strands added to my scarf here. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Thank you so much for being here with me. As always, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss a new video. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Feel free to reach out to me at nanascraftyhome@gmail.com. And I love to see your projects, so if you share on social media, remember to hashtag nanascraftyhome so I get to see your lovely creations. Take care, everyone. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.